I want to welcome you to our 2020 Virtual Graduate School Celebration. We're here to celebrate the successes of our students who've earned doctoral degrees, those who have earned the Masters of Fine Arts, and we also want to celebrate those students who have earned a master's degree in interdisciplinary studies because those students are enrolled in the graduate school. I also want to take a moment to recognize the graduate school's outstanding student, Jamie Young, who is the recipient of the Guy Stevenson Award for Excellence in Graduate Studies. Jamie will give a commencement speech here shortly. You are all entering a select community of scholars. You know, only about 13% of the population has master's degrees and just about 2% have earned doctoral degrees. And I'm sure you know why. It hasn't been easy. Most of you have spent the last several years of your lives here at U of L. And for those of you that have graduated this year, it's been particularly difficult because of the pandemic, and we recognize that. But you are now all experts in a discipline, and you will be sought after for the skills that you've learned as part of your expertise. But I want to remind you that you've also learned a toolbox of marketable skills that are not isolated to your discipline. Skills like perseverance, adaptability, resilience, critical analysis, and teamwork. These skills will be with you regardless of the career path you take. And we are excited about your future, and we look forward to you staying in touch with us. We're proud of your accomplishments, and your friends and your families are proud of your accomplishments too. And don't forget to thank them for the support that they've given you over the years while you've been in graduate school. We're very fortunate that you've chosen the University of Louisville for your graduate education. And on behalf of the university community, I want to congratulate you and wish you the best of luck.
I am both humbled and honored to address you today as the Guy Stevenson Award winner. This achievement does not reflect my work alone, but reflects my efforts supported by my cherished family, both biological and chosen, dedicated faculty, tireless mentors, and encouraging peers. I thank you all. And to the graduating class of 2020, I thank you as well. I thank you for making a choice. We all had faced a choice at the beginning of our graduate journey to celebrate the successes of our undergraduate degree and follow a well-traveled path into adulthood and the workforce, earning a sufficient income to live our lives and become productive members of society. Or we could follow a less traveled path and go back to school, get more educated, and emerge years later with a graduate degree, as we do now, moving on to who knows what. We chose. With most of us expecting an undergraduate-like journey of learning and checking boxes on a smooth path to graduation. However, little did we know then about the journey we had just committed ourselves to, and the profound changes and lessons we would learn along the way that had nothing to do with our research focus. There's a cartoon, which I believe many of you have seen, where there are two panels. One depicts our plan to reach our goal, and one depicts reality. The plan to reach our goal is a straight, well-trodden path with a slight incline, void of both obstacles and failures. In other words, the path we expected. The second panel is reality, how it really goes, the path we got. It is a much less traveled, winding deer trail that starts with a sharp incline, rapidly followed by a deep cavernous hole filled with jagged rocks, which once you crawl out of, you progress uphill on a tightrope to land in yet another cavernous hole, this time filled with water and piranhas. And so on until you reach your ultimate goal. I truly believe that my fellow graduates, our mentors, and our family members will agree the true path to a PhD, in reality, is the path less traveled. One full of obstacles, failures, and even piranhas. The path that has inevitably shaped the amazing, compassionate, and intellectual scholars we have become and will continue to be. But it all began with that initial choice. You see, I first started down the safer, well-traveled path. I was raised in a small rural community where I learned the value of family and hard work, to which I am grateful for my parents and my community for instilling in me. However, I was also taught to play it safe and conform to the culture around me. That one should live a life avoiding disappointment and fear and to simply stay on the well-traveled path, to stick to a smooth plan. In other words, I was taught to stay in a neat, orderly box, essentially a box built of fear. And I tried to step out, but quickly retreated in fear that I might be different and I might fail. So for a while, I lived in that box. Then, one day, on a chance meeting, a friend encouraged me to think outside the box, to move to Kentucky and pursue my graduate career. From inside my box, I waved and laughed off the challenge. But the next morning, something changed in me. A morning driven by a friendly challenge and a cold winter storm. I woke up early to walk a foster dog, Henderson, The sky was dark, the temperature bitter, and the wind was howling. Yes, there was a storm coming, and normally I would have felt the need to prepare, to be ready, to be alert. But something in me felt at peace. I welcomed the storm and saw new opportunities, possibilities. The walk was an organized chaos, and in it I found a sense of freedom and a profound ability to choose. By the end of the walk, I had taken the proverbial leap of faith, made the choice to challenge myself, to change my relationship with fear and failure and order, to embrace the chaos of life and scientific discovery. In that moment, I took the less traveled road. And during my travels down this road, I have come to realize how critically important failure is to success. Yes, the same failure that instills fear and allows boxes to be built actually turns out to be the engine for learning and success. When a reporter asked the great Thomas Edison, how did it feel to fail 1,000 times? Edison replied, I didn't fail 1,000 times. The light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps. Great success is built on failure, frustration, and even catastrophe. I will not overwhelm you with how many 1,000 steps it took me to get my PhD, but along the way, I came to realize that when we are trying new things and pushing our limits, we will be failing constantly, but it's a good thing. We fail a little less every time, learning from our mistakes, growing intellectually, and becoming more empowered. In fact, we grow more from failure than we do from success, and instead of avoiding failure, fearing it, we should be embracing it. Because in the end, the successes are so much more rewarding. And in the end, I learned, in fact, there is no box. Today, I invite you to celebrate both your failures and your successes, to embrace the choices you made, that we all made, to take the less traveled path. I would like to leave you with a quote from a Robert Frost poem, The Road Not Taken. 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and it has made all the difference. To the love of my life, thank you for showing me the less traveled road. It too has made all the difference. My hope is that generations to follow, including my 2 wonderful daughters, Emma and Adeline, will take the less traveled road, embracing the obstacles of fear and failure on their way to success. Congratulations to the graduating class of 2020. I will not encourage you to think outside the box, but rather to recognize and understand there is no box. No, go into the world and fail your way to success.